Happy Mother's Day. To start with that. Um, Today, while I was in church, our congregation had a special meeting to kind of commemorate Mother's Day, to dwell on that a little bit, and it was wonderful. But as we walked into the meeting, and I saw the program that they were handing out, they would just kind of give the outline for the meeting. It said that one of the speakers was to be announced, and that always, that put me to stir a little bit, thinking, what if by some astronomical chance I get called on to speak about Mother's Day on the fly? What am I going to say? What can I possibly express about my mother today? Off the top of my head, just kind of going for it. And I started thinking about that for the rest of the meeting, and then luckily I had a chance to be home this weekend. I'm usually down here at college, 6 hours away, and so it was really great to be able to be home for Mother's Day actually and be with my mom. But as I was driving home and I started thinking about that more, what would I say to and about my mom, about motherhood in general, that is that would be meaningful to them, something that I could really honestly and sincerely express about that. And the tongue-in-cheek part of me, the kind of sarcastic part, was reminiscing about that there are times in a young man's life where he rolls the dice. As an example, there's a time I was standing on top of a bridge, 60 feet over a river, about to jump, and thinking to myself, if this goes horribly wrong, I become like an invalid, am I still going to be awesome? I don't know. But the thought came to me, you know what, your mom would still love you. So that was, reassuring. But, like I said, that was the more sarcastic part of it. But really mothers, and particularly my mother is very special. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. And as I was thinking about just all the incredible impact she's had in my life, as a key role in my personal education, as someone I could turn to for advice, as someone I could turn to for comfort when things weren't particularly great, I've come to treasure that great blessing in my life more and more as I've gotten older. And I would definitely echo what Abraham Lincoln once said. Actually, I did one time echo what Abraham Lincoln once said when I was serving as a missionary for my church. When I'd been out for just a few months, I was asked to speak on the fly on Mother's Day in the Spanish-speaking congregation. And this is, like I said, when I'd just been out there for a couple months, I did not have a great grasp on the Spanish language, but I tried my best. When they told me I was going to be speaking, I was mortified. When they told me the subject would be motherhood, I felt a lot better because my mom is such an amazing example. I didn't think it would be hard. But I opened by quoting Abraham Lincoln when he said that all that I am, I owe to my angel mother. I think that many of us feel that way, and Abraham Lincoln just said it most eloquently. I definitely know that that's how I feel. My mom has been everything to and for me. And while we're talking about my mission, that's one of the things I really wanted to emphasize. That one of the biggest impact my mom has had in my life is kind of her son. Well, it was just epitomized in an experience I had right before I left to be a missionary. I went to a place called the Missionary Training Center for 9 weeks, which is where they gave me a basic rundown of the most fundamentals of Spanish and tried to teach me how to really express to the best of my ability what the gospel of Jesus Christ means to me. But it's a pretty intense thing. It was not something I was used to. And my mom is being so insightful and being as wonderfully charitable as she is, had anticipated the fact that I would struggle a little bit. And in an attempt to kind of diminish that negative effect, she had hidden a note in my luggage right before they dropped me off. And one of my great regrets is that I've lost that note along the way. But when I've been in EMTC for a couple of weeks, I started struggling. I was having a real hard time convincing myself that that's where I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to be doing with my life. And I just kept praying, just looking to God, trying to figure out, is this where I'm supposed to be at? And one night, one of the special speakers who came and was talking to us as a group of assembled missionaries said that she was there to represent the mothers of all of us and extending their encouragement, extending their love to us, and how proud they were of us. And it struck me. And all this time I've been looking for answers, praying, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I just hadn't felt like I was getting any response. It was super discouraging. And then I thought about that, and I thought to myself, but I definitely couldn't let my mom down. But then that drew my thoughts back to that note that she left me. And I realized that in that note there was kind of some bullet points. Like, remember this, don't get discouraged about that. And there were very specific things that applied to me personally in the moment perfectly. And I remember thinking, if my mom is so aware and so familiar with me as a person that she would know ahead of time the struggles I would face, and that she would have so much kindness and so much love in her heart that she would do anything in her power to help that not be a struggle, help that not be a dark time. If that's how my mom felt, then how did God feel? And I felt very, very powerfully the voice of the Spirit in my heart at that time saying that truly God lives. And that sure knowledge came to me unequivocally and independent of all other influences. That I knew for a certainty at that moment that God lives, that Jesus is the Savior of the world, and that because of their love for me, they were aware of my situation, they were aware of my struggles, and this was exactly where I needed to be. And the template of all of that came from the knowledge that my mom loved me. I'm so grateful for that. That that's the kind of woman that my mother is, and if that's the kind of impact mothers have, is to teach the things of God, not by rhetoric or by pedagogy, but in such a visceral and impactful way in our life that, especially in my life, that I can know those things. That I can know those things with the core of who I am. That I can be turned to God by the influence of a righteous woman doing what she knows she's supposed to be doing. And that is, I think, what motherhood is. It's having that kind of impact on the lives of people, to turn them to God, to teach them the things of God, to help them to grow. And I'll be forever grateful for that and for my wonderful, amazing mother, to whom I just like to add that I love you, Mom, so much. I'm so grateful for all of the stress and the toil and everything that you've put in to try and make life a little bit easier for me. I love you, Mom. Have a happy, wonderful Mother's Day.